In the ocean, the plastic ocean, from Coca-Cola, that's Coca-Cola.
Welcome to today's episode called The Ocean Has a Coke Problem. This is where we dive deep, literally, into one of the most pressing environmental challenges of our time, which is plastic pollution in our oceans. Imagine this: every minute, the equivalent of a truckload of plastic is dumped into the ocean, choking marine life, disrupting ecosystems, and threatening the balance of our planet's blue heart. Now, picture the world's largest drinks company, Coca-Cola, is a household name, it's a global icon, and perhaps the #1 plastic polluter worldwide in the last 6 consecutive years. This isn't just about bottles and packaging, it's about the clash between corporate power, consumer culture, and the urgent need for sustainability. In this episode, we'll peel back the layers of Coca-Cola's leadership. Are they genuine steps towards sustainable transformation, or clever greenwashing designed to protect brand reputation? The answer to that, we'll bring leadership theory into the conversation, examining Coca-Cola's actions through the lens of transformational leadership, which inspires change, ethical leadership, which demands responsibility, and stakeholder leadership, which balances the needs of communities, consumers, and shareholders. So join us as we navigate the currents of reliability, leadership, and sustainability. This isn't just a story about a company, it's a story about the oceans, about us, and about the choices that will shape the future of our planet. So if you're ready, let's begin. Introducing Karen Mackay and Michelle Doherty. For the next 10 minutes, listen, digest, and enjoy.
Hi, I'm Michelle and it's great to be here on the Allan Talks podcast today. I'm especially excited, well, as excited as you can when you're talking about plastic pollution. But honestly, it's a topic I'm deeply passionate about, and once you hear some of what I've discovered, you might actually start rethinking your own plastic box too. As Allan mentioned earlier, every year around 11 million tonnes of plastic into the ocean. Yes, a million. That's the equivalent of a garbage truck of plastic being dumped into the sea every single minute. So during this introduction alone, we've probably launched a small fleet of trucks straight into the water. Not exactly the beach getaway the dolphins were hoping for. And here's where it gets more shocking. We've known about this problem for decades, yet according to the United Nations Environment Programme, only 9% of all plastic ever produced has been recycled. Just 9%. The rest is either rafted off the landfill, burned, or currently floating past Nemo in the ocean. Nemo? I know. These aren't just scary statistics, they're warnings. It's not only marine life that's affected, it's us. Plastic pollution is becoming a growing threat to human health too. So, one thing is very clear, the time for small change has passed. We don't just need recycling bins, we need sustainable leadership. Leaders who see beyond PR campaigns, leaders who think long term and make bold decisions today to protect tomorrow. So that brings me to Coca-Cola, often labelled the world's largest plastic polluter. Coca-Cola does publicly say it's committed to sustainability. They support recycling and community cleanups through the Coca-Cola Foundation. Great initiatives, they look good in a poster. But it still does not change Coca-Cola's core packaging practices, nor does it reduce the massive volume of single-use plastic bottles the company continues to produce. So, while these initiatives are commendable, they don't actually stop plastic from entering the ocean.
Karen, I'm just wondering, what's your take on the sustainable approach? Is it real change or just clever branding?
Allan, Michelle, let's put this into perspective. Coca-Cola produces around 120 billion plastic bottles every single year. Nearly 200,000 every minute. We're using them for what, 20 minutes? And then they hang around on this planet for about 400 years. Not exactly the kind of global reach Coca-Cola was aiming for. No wonder Coca-Cola keeps earning the title of world's biggest plastic polluter. Probably not an award they want to display proudly in the boardroom. But plastic pollution isn't just an environmental issue anymore, it's a symbol of how convenience culture collides with sustainability. Our oceans were made for marine life, not bottle caps. The Coca-Cola does say it's improving. In 2022, it invested nearly $1 billion to increase the use of recycled plastics in its bottles. Although that sounds impressive, here's the catch: recycling alone doesn't stop plastic entering our oceans. A report by Oceana in 2024 shows that even bottles labelled recyclable often end up in rivers, coastal areas and marine environments. It does get more uncomfortable though. Between 2022 and 2024, Coca-Cola's total plastic usage actually increased by 8% despite all their sustainability promises. That's when critics started using the word greenwashing. When something looks green, but beneath the surface it's still business as usual for Coca-Cola. Then, to make even things more confusing, in December 2024, Coca-Cola scrapped its goal of reaching 25% reusable packaging, switching focus to recycle-ready bottles instead. But experts say refill and reuse systems can be up to 80% better for the environment instead of constantly producing new bottles. We could simply use the ones we already have. But here's where it gets really serious. Ocean plastic reaches the ocean. It doesn't disappear, it breaks down into microplastics, which have now been found in seafood, human lungs, blood, and even placentas. Yes, plastic is now literally inside us. More than 100,000 marine animals die every year through ingestion or entanglement. We definitely cannot recycle our way out of this. What we need is a circular economy where materials are refilled, reused, and regenerated, not simply thrown away. Companies like Coca-Cola, with their scale and global influence, are in the perfect position to lead that change.
We've looked at the environmental impact and Coca-Cola's huge plastic footprint, but to understand why change has been slow despite all the promises were made to look at the leadership. What kind of leadership is guiding Coca-Cola? Is it truly driving change or simply managing reputation? Michelle, can you talk us through how leadership theories can help us understand Coca-Cola's actions?
Yeah, well, Alan, since 2017, Coca-Cola's CEO, James Quincey, has been flying the flag for transformational leadership, the kind that's meant to inspire innovation, drive sustainability and lead industry-wide change, according to Bass. And Coca-Cola certainly talks like a transformational leader. Big promises like we'll recycle every bottle by 2030. Sounds visionary, am I right? But critics argue these are more like small steps rather than big slogans, and that true transformational leadership requires bold innovation, not just better recycling posters. In fact, their actions sometimes look more transactional focused and short-term goals, reputation, and keeping the business ticking over rather than reimagining how it actually operates. Now let's talk ethical leadership. Basically, this is doing the right thing, even when it's not the most profitable. Coca-Cola definitely try. They partner with the ocean cleanup to intercept plastic before it reaches the sea. They currently support 15 projects worldwide. A business member of the AWS and the Coca-Cola Foundation funds projects aligned with several global sustainability goals. But here's the dilemma, Karen. They know single-use plastics are harmful, but they still rely on them heavily because it's a cheaper and easier option. That doesn't quite scream moral responsibility, does it? It feels like ethical intentions, but not yet ethical action. Then we've got their stakeholder leadership. Freeman reminds us it's about balancing the needs of everyone, people, planet and profit. And Coca-Cola's sustainability report certainly mentions commitments to communities and ecosystem. But let's be realistic here. Shareholder value and market dominance still sit at the top of the priority list. It's just how public companies are designed to need a profit. But here's the key point. If Coca-Cola truly wanted to lead global change, they could. They have the resources to reach and the influence to move away from single-use plastic and embrace ocean-friendly packaging. Alternatives exist. I'm not saying Coca-Cola is solely responsible for plastic in the ocean, but as a market leader, they have the power to set a precedent for others to follow. That could reshape the entire beverage industry. So I suppose the question is not can they lead, it's really will they?
Well, Karen, what's your take? Are they genuine leaders, or do you think they're just really good marketeers?
Well, yes and no. Coca-Cola sounds like a sustainability leader. They do run campaigns with World Without Waste, but then we see the numbers. Plastic usage increased. And despite all those sustainability promises, that's when the question pops up. Are they leading change or just changing the language? Now, this is where leadership theory actually helps us understand what's going on. Transformational leadership is about bold vision and meaningful change. To be fair, Coca-Cola uses the language of transformation, but in practice, their actions look much closer to transactional or even reputational leadership, focused on compliance, branding, keeping stakeholders happy, and ultimately protecting their own image. Let's look at stakeholder leadership. In theory, it means balancing the need of society, the environment and shareholders. But when Coca-Cola scrapped the reusable packaging target to focus on recyclable single-change bottles, it looked more like cost efficiency and shareholder interest that were taking priority over long-term planetary health. To be fair, they did invest nearly $1 billion to increase recycled plastic. That's significant, but the problem that still stands, recycling alone won't reduce the overall plastic footprint. At best, it only delays the problem. That's where ethical leadership comes in. Ethical leadership means making decisions not just because they're profitable, but because they're right and necessary for the future generations. The Ellen MacArthur Foundation says it clearly: companies must move from intention to action. This means investing in biodegradable materials, scaling up reuse systems, supporting deposit return schemes, and embracing a circular economy. Because real sustainable leadership isn't about protecting reputation, it's about reimagining how products are designed, delivered, used, and recovered. So here's the big question. Coca-Cola has the money, the influence, and the global reach to make real change, but will they actually lead, or will they just follow the sustainability conversation from a distance? I think only time will tell.
I'd like to thank Michelle and Cam for joining us today. To sum it up, plastic pollution is no longer just an environmental crisis, it's a leadership test. Coca-Cola has the scale to transform the industry, but transformation requires courage, not slogans. Real change will come when sustainability moves from marketing to manufacturing. I think we all agree that Coca-Cola can and should do more. So thank you to our listeners. Click the subscribe button and join us in the next episode where leadership meets impact.
In the